native San Franciscan who concentrated in computer science for development, an independent concentration combining computer science and economic development. To further her studies, she took a leave of absence to spend a year working at a lab in Australia using optimization algorithms to model disaster evacuations. At Brown, Adrienne founded the Brown Venture Fellowship, a year-long educational program that accelerates the development of Brown student entrepreneurs, and developed a blog promoting women in computer science. Adrienne hopes to pursue a master's at Brown, focusing her research on computer vision, or how we can use computer algorithms to see the world like humans do. Adrienne.
Notion of the quintessential Brown experience. It was being part of an a cappella group, writing for the Brown Daily Herald, going to the Coliseum on Friday nights, and living in Perkins and ending up in a long-term relationship with one of my hallmates. But I didn't fit into any of it. I started a separate club and spent my Friday nights in conversations about philosophy. I didn't follow the typical path to graduate in 4 years. I instead took a leave from school to fill a gap that I felt in my education. I wanted to find ways that I could apply computer science to real-world problems and moved to Australia to research how I could use algorithms to optimize disaster evacuations. Because of that gap, for me, and for many of us, school was no longer a treadmill we were exhausting ourselves trying to finish. Rather, the juncture in our education gave us pause to appreciate the things that were present at Brown, that were rarely found in other places. Things like discussions where we could contemplate our moral responsibilities while simultaneously being offered complimentary kebab and curry. The contrasts between Brown and other places allowed me to tease out the extraordinary in life's commonplace. I think often about what might have prompted this deviation from my original plan to graduate in 4 years. I have a hunch that it was something about Brown which, ironically, motivated me to leave. I remember at a first-generation college students' lunch with the deans, someone in our small circle asked Dean Rodriguez why she became a dean. She said that when she was in college, she would avoid deans. And not just deans, but people generally. If she saw somebody she knew walking on the street, she would immediately walk in the other direction. Everyone laughed. But laughter only comes from getting something that we're not expecting. I laughed, not because I didn't expect her scenario, but I didn't expect something like that to be shared. Few people have the courage to let themselves be seen. But many people at Brown do. And it wasn't only Dean Rodriguez. Many of my peers at Brown shared a willingness to own and engage with their vulnerability. The seemingly trivial moment brought me to realize what is present at Brown, but seldom found elsewhere. The authenticity, the compassion with which people at Brown receive each other. That's not to say we are soft. After all, the purpose of university is to make you emotionally comfortable, so you can be intellectually uncomfortable. I left Brown because of the connectiveness that I felt with my friends, colleagues, and professors, which gave me confidence to tread a different path to augment my education. And I know that I will carry that with me and put myself in intellectually uncomfortable situations after Brown. Many of us have thought about life after Brown. For me, it was panicking to my best friend at 1 a.m. about my poor grade on my midterm, and how that only logically entailed that I would be unemployable after college. It's peculiar how painful something is when we're in the middle of it, and how trivial it appears in hindsight. We often say that Brown students are not competitive, but we are. We may not be competitive with other people, but we're competitive with ourselves, with our ideal selves, because we haven't solved world hunger yet or cured cancer yet. I say this because I, too, used to dwell on questions like, will I build the next Apple? Will I make $1 million and start my own social good foundation? And what if I never do that in my life? This is one of the most painful reconciliations to make in a life well lived. But maybe it doesn't have to be quite so full of anguish if we thought differently. This is how I've started to think as I've been writing code, applying for scholarships, and interviewing for jobs. What I have to keep telling myself when I get really psyched out is, don't be afraid. I cannot be daunted by the possibility of my goals and dreams not coming true. I can only do my job and continue to show up for my piece of it, whatever that might be. Looking back at my time at Brown, I realized that my experience is the quintessential Brown experience. And everyone has the quintessential Brown experience, whether you spend your Brown moments at Brown or you spend your time elsewhere. Everyone has a different story, but whether you found yourself as an 0.5er or decided to make yourself an 0.5er, something happened. Something happened between the moment we received our acceptance letters and today. Life showed us jumps and transitions, and we opened ourselves up and accepted the detour. The real value of those ambitious goals, then, is arousing within us the will to aspire beyond where we see ourselves today. That will moves us forward, and has moved us forward to this ceremonial day. This day is for you, for having the sheer human compassion and stubbornness to keep showing up.